I have been watching Andor.
Yes,
You and Eddie turned me onto it at our birthday dinner, and it's really good.
It's unfortunately a very good show,
really
and so
good.
I have to admit that I like some recent Star Wars media.
I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed because it just ended. I haven't finished it. I'm on season 2, episode 8, but apparently you haven't started season 2 yet. And I was trying to think about like what I like about it so much. I think the writing's good, the characters are good. I just am impressed with, this is like a super baby take, but I'm not trying to do media criticism. I'm just exploring why I like something. I was surprised that I could give a shit knowing that it like happens between known events.
Yeah.
It's like zooming into something. If I was, you know how sometimes there's an episode of a show like Severance that does a bunch of like Cobell lore,
Yes.
and then people are like, filler episode. I'm like, that is, you are a baby. To me, that's my gut reaction, because what do you want?
You have the brain of a child.
Do you just want a list of plot events?
Yeah.
Because if Andor is entirely pointless if you just view things as plot events.
Yeah,
at the macroscopic.
As result and path, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think that's maybe what like some people's hesitation towards it is. I think one thing, that's the thing, you're completely right, and that is media critique. Because all that is analyzing why you do or don't like something, and the writing is just very good.
It just makes you care, right? I think that it does a good job of creating stakes. I don't want to spoil 1977's A New Hope, but we kind of know the fates of some of the characters, right? Normally that takes away stakes. When you know that someone's the protagonist in a movie, and then Act 2 comes along, and you're like, well, I know nothing bad can happen to them because they're the protagonist. Or I know there's a sequel, so Iron Man isn't gonna...
Ned Stark's the hero.
Yeah, I know there's Iron Man 2, so nothing too bad can happen in Iron Man 1. There's no way they could kill Tony Stark. That would be insane. And so...
and then they wouldn't bring him back.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. So knowing that, and then still being able to like give a shit, I think is like sign of a show that's doing something like, well.
I've known some people are like, I don't know if I want to watch a show with a bunch of Imperial stuff, and it's like, well, that's just, really you don't have to have likable characters. That's like a misnomer.
So I'm completely divorced from or detached from any of the criticism, because I've just been watching without, and now I can't even go on Twitter. Part of the reason I'm finishing it is because I accidentally engaged with one Andor tweet, and now my entire feed is spoilers.
Yeah.
And it's also funny to avoid spoilers where I kind of know where things are going, but like the manner in which things happen and the fates of specific characters and the interactions of specific characters, I don't want to be spoiled on. What is the criticism on Imperial stuff?
It was a very broad thing early on before I even watched the show myself, where people were like, and this happens all the time, from Sopranos and The Wire onwards, of like, well, why would I watch a show with characters that I can't relate to or find likable? And it's a very kind of basic critique, because it kind of loses the fact that you watch things because they are compelling, not because they are likable. If you were looking only for likable media, then you would watch March of the Penguins only. It's like that's pleasant, but it is a completely different experience. In the case of Andor, it's like, well, how do they make them compelling? I'm like, I don't play the oboe, but I know when it sounds good. And sometimes it is perfect.
Like, I can go to a ballet and not know anything that's going on, but I'll like shed a tear, and I'm like, wow, that was beautiful, I think. I like don't even know what happened.
Who's the Black Swan? I am?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I actually...
highly recommend, even if you don't like Star Wars. Like,
no, that's the thing. I wouldn't even consider... I guess I probably read as like a Star Wars guy, but I watched the original trilogy like somewhat in like late adulthood, or like not as like a young adult. I watched it like pretty late in life.
Jarvis had a confession when I arrived today. He said, I went on Wikipedia.
Well, I think that was the funny thing, is that I will spoil 1977 Star Wars: A New Hope. The whole show is like set up in, it starts in like 4 or 5 BBY. And I was like, wait, BBY, what is that?
Before
Big,
battle.
Beautiful
Yavin.
Big, beautiful Yavin. And then I was like, wait, and this is how out of Star Wars world I am. I'm like, Battle of Yavin, that sounds familiar. Oh, Oh, that's from the climax of 1977. I have to keep saying that so that people aren't like, oh, spoiler alert.
And also, no one can say the year during the show.
Right.
Because I feel like something's coming up.
Right.
I feel like we're 47 years from something.
Yeah. It's like Jesus being like,
Hold on, we're going to start here, trust me.
Yeah.
All the wise men being like, now, right?
Yeah, I think something's happening. So like Battle of Yavin stuff, I was like, oh, right. And then I started like Googling characters and being like, when was I introduced to this person? Oh,
Yeah.
Mon Mothma's introduced in Return of the Jedi. So I do know who that character is.
Dead for years before them talking about.
I actually think that they do a good job of like making you care about the like members of the ISB, like basically like the Imperial police people.
Irritable Sal syndrome.
While Saul, irritable call Saul ball.
Better shit pants.
You know that they're bad, but there is a humanity in them because we are all human, even those doing evil.
You can't create a fascist system without humanity. You're appealing to fear and control.
Right.
And,
There is it's like a perversion or a abuse of human psychology.
Yeah, you erode people's expectations. You start with like hey, we
play-
should all dress the same, and actually maybe we should all go to the same places.
I think that that's what's really interesting is like the way that they kind of tackle manufactured consent and like the ways that both a extremely powerful oligarchy, or what would you even call the empire? Dictatorship.
I guess it's a dictatorship, but like the emperor is so obscured to the point where it is. It treats it like a senatorship and a government. Like there's officials.
It's because it used to be a republic. But
Yes.
It was like I don't know that much about Star Wars.
They keep the like,
but I'm like
people of the Galactic Republic, but the
exactly. They
emperors,
kept the structure of it.
And that's how you do it.
Exactly, yeah. And there are some scenes.
Not advice, by the way.
And that's how you do it. And by the way, and this is a tutorial on how to do it.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be building a fascist dictatorship.
Have you guys heard the term banality of evil?
Yeah, like just it's eerily dull.
Yeah, they use it. People use this term, like historians use it to discuss Nazi Germany.
Right.
Where it's like, it is this very dull, bureaucratic kind of wearing away at people.
Yeah.
Until you all of a sudden realize you have no rights and you don't know how it happened.
And that is like, I think that that's like kind of what the show does well, because you are witnessing this passage of time that is kind of happening in real time, is like people are realizing that they're just pawns, and like there's like false flags, and there's like a lot of things that are taken from history. Like there's a lot of like World War II allegory and things of that nature that I find really, prescient in our modern times. And it's also just all happening in a Star Wars show, which I can't, I keep going, that's very funny.
I mean, it helps that like, sci-fi is fun for a reason, and it is, it's visuals and like evocative feelings and drama, and there's a degree of excitement when the gun makes a pew pew sound instead of a regular gun sound. And I think it's almost like calling your shot before the home run. You're like, wow, you did it with that extra sauce on it.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, you didn't have to go so hard.
I mean, yeah,
Gilroy?
I think that's in Gilroy Brothers.
If that's like a depiction and media tone you're not in the mood for right now, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Because it's maybe a little
It is
too
like,
accurate.
I was gonna say it's like extremely woke for the Star Wars people who I feel like just yesterday were like bullying Kelly Marie Tran off the internet.
And it's like, and why are you guys doing that? Well, it's not because Asian. It's something, and woman. It's something else.
Rey is a Mary Sue.
Oh, that's a different character, though.
Yeah, but she has something in common,
What it is?
which I can't put my finger on because I never met a woman, so I can't put my finger on.
Come back.
Come here.
I couldn't recognize. I saw a shower. I don't know what that is. A Bacta tank.
But anyway, I'm not a Star Wars guy, so I'm just like coming at it from like I'll like watch a movie and then I'll like go like read a bit of lore. I'll like get my like little bits and pieces. I turned a corner into like actual hype maybe for like the last 4 episodes, and I'm like sad because I'm like, well, damn, then it's gonna be over, and I don't know if I want to watch another Star Wars thing after this, or a lot of stuff. I've heard really good stuff about like some of the animated series.
I will say lore-wise, characterization-wise, there's a lot of like if you want to kind of retroactively make, because Star Wars, the plot can be a little overconvoluted. The story is really good in its essence if you laid it out
Right.
I would, and that's what that is. George Lucas, he does story, not script.
He was he was like writing the first movie and then like reading Joseph Campbell and then like adjusting and then like
Well,
he was like, all right, hero's journey.
Seven Samurai.
His wife had a lot to do with that too. At the time, they're divorced now. Like he has a different wife now. But his wife was his editor, and there's a lot of theories that she helped him a lot on his scripts and stuff.
Well, especially because when he's revisited things, it hasn't gone the best.
And when he's written and directed the dialogue but fully 100% himself, you got the prequel trilogy, which I have an affection for to some degree, especially in retrospect, because a lot of the animated stuff, some of which is very bad. It's Dave Filoni, George Lucas, very generally pretty uninvolved. But there's an emphasis on almost like politely retconning some of the characters because, I mean, I don't give a fucking shit. I don't feel like Obi-Wan and Anakin were particularly good friends, so it doesn't mean something when they fall out. Then you watch Clone Wars,
Yeah, Clone Wars is good.
it just pokes and it goes like, well, here's examples of like Anakin actually being kind of a good guy and like him having a place to fall.
Right. The other thing about Star Wars is that people get so angry about modern Star Wars that like I'm so disconnected from that amount of ownership and emotion about any media. It turns me into a contrarian.
Yeah.
You know?
It's real hard not to, especially
like,
when they make really shit stuff.
It's like I almost like I didn't even watch the prequels back in the day. So I watched those right after I watched the original trilogy. So I watched the first, 6, and then I think it was before The Force Awakens came out. So I think that was when I first watched all the movies.
And then we went to episode 9 together and both fell asleep.
I'm a little bit of a Star Wars guy because my parents were Star Wars guys.
I think that's how it has to happen.
It's genetic.
My parents graduated high school in 1977.
Oh,
perfect year.
Well,
They also-
quit high school to go and see the movie.
Right, that's true. They were in line. We all that documentary.
They wanted to
Actually
become
not
Padawans.
that far off because they were also teen parents who
Oh.
did not graduate high school.
Your parents had kids?
Yes.
Anastasia was
My
born on
parents-
Tatooine.
Oh, that makes so much
But
sense.
my
Arizona.
sister's name is Leia.
Oh, right.
That's where George
because of-
Lucas got it.
My dad read all the Star Wars books, and you can see him highlighting
that's
the name
awesome.
Leia and writing his last name with Leia being like, is this a good name?
Mitchell, stop. I thought
But-
that maybe Anastasia was a beautiful name, and I'm
Is
George
this-
Lucas.
Oh, okay. I was like, is this George Lucas, Kermit the Frog, or
my
Jordan
dad, George
Peterson?
Lucas.
My mom, a Greek guy called George Lucas. I raised Anastasia.
But my sister decided because of her name, she took up the mantle, and she and her husband are Star Wars cosplayers.
Whoa.
And they like make elaborate like Wookiee costumes and stuff. It's crazy.
That's not Leia. Leia's actually not a Wookiee.
But so I wouldn't say I'm the
Freaking
biggest
nerd.
Star Wars fan, but I've seen everything and I could guide you, Jarvis, in what's good and what's not.
I know. I'm
That
like,
is a problem, how much of it is bad.
There is so much of it that's bad.
Yeah.
Even Clone Wars, which I think as a whole is a very good show.
You gotta trim
But
it.
you gotta not watch certain parts because it gets boring.
so it's like, that's one of the things. So I'm like, I don't know how much deeper I'm going to get, but I'm having fun on this like little, like zoom into this little slice. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Lore's fun. It's almost like
Yeah.
the meta of like a game, but for
There is,
video.
when I went to Wikipedia, it was to look up a couple of things because I was like trying to jog my memory about some stuff. But it was almost like, and this could be completely wrong, and I just did it. I looked at the Wikipedia wrong. But Wikipedia is like so like in universe Star Wars that it doesn't even tell you like the movies.
Yeah.
It's just like lore. And so I'm like, who fucking, this is why I had to fucking Google it and have the AI tell me like what year does this take place in? BBY style? BBW style?
Opa BBY style, please.
And it, like, who's this actor? And that, like, all those things were like just not on Wikipedia because they're like, this is real life. Wikipedia is Star Wars is real life.
And then I told you yesterday that there's a character in Clone Wars called Savage Opress. And it is, you read that and you're like, is this stupid? And then actually his character is really cool, but they're just like, it literally sometimes feels, cause I can't be annoyed, whatever. I cannot fucking stand the Mandalorian or anything associated with it. It's all the parts I don't care about, and with no like allegory to anything. It's like, what about the Old West? I'm like, well, what about we had the Old West though.
Yeah.
But there's like no.
I actually love the politics.
He's an incredibly
say,
based guy, George Lucas.
Like, one thing I love about Andor is that, so if you go back to A New Hope, it's kind of black and white, like almost literally black and white. Like, Darth Vader's wearing black, Skywalker's wearing white.
Yeah.
You know, it's like good and evil. And the truth is, humans contain multitudes. We're not pure good. We're not pure evil. That does not exist. And Andor kind of explores that.
Like, because original, like, A New Hope is they've only got a certain amount of runtime, you know?
Yeah, it's sufficient.
And so...
and then by the time you get to Return of the Jedi, that turns it on its head, where it's like, it's not pure good, it's not pure evil.
Right.
Darth Vader may or may not be actually an okay guy.
And he's kind of cute under the mask.
No, he's
I've
not.
seen him.
Did I kind of misunderstand the message?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
yeah, before they like executed Route 66 or whatever.
They're driving down Route 66,
driving into killing all the Jedis.
I think Star Wars often gets attributed to World War II, which, to be fair, you know, they're called stormtroopers. There's a lot there. But George Lucas was a big anti-Vietnam guy. And so when the prequels come along, there's a lot of kind of gestures to the fascism of the Jedi Order instead of the, like, the Jedi Order is like, sucks. It's like a very, very bad thing, but they got like swag swords and they move shit around with their brain, so it's kind of easy to like them. Yeah. Also, they're better.
It is.
They're Democrats, essentially. They're like
and
bad,
this is like a
better.
spoiler for season 2, but it's not plot related to my knowledge. But there is a scene in the season 2 episode I just watched where there's a Force healer, and it's the only it's like the only time the Force had been referred to, I think, in this whole series so far. And Andor is like, I'm not about this woo-woo shit.
He's like crunchy granola ass.
No, literally, like,
I love that.
He's got like a wound or whatever, and he's like, I gotta go, man. I'm not into this granola bullshit.
It's a shame, like, the reshoots kind of fucked up Rogue One, but when you watch it, you will. They do the same thing. They're like, I'm not really into this part. They like push away from. There's no, lightsaber in the movie, but they do have one guy who's kind of into it, and it's like clearly doing something. It's kind of maybe working, but he doesn't like do powers. He just essentially makes him like really good at karate. Yeah. And they're like, oh,
I realize, like, I think that lightsabers are cool, obviously, because I was a kid once, and but I think the politics are like so much more interesting. I'm like, yo, that's fucking great. I'm like, the information that because like in Andor there is a lot of World War II stuff, because there's allegory to the use of radio and stuff during World War II, and how a lot of espionage happened, and like that, like Andor being like a spy thriller, political spy thriller type vibe,
and the Empire winning in a technology race, like developing way faster than the rebels are,
and just like that type of thing where everyone's having conversations and you're having to hold in your head, what does this person know, what does this person want, what does this person think, this person's being like duped by this information because they've been told it, at face value, but by an untrustworthy source, by someone that got lied to. Like, I think that kind of thing is like very fun from what like is engaging to my brain watching a show. And I think that's what makes the writing really cool.
And is some of the value in, art.
Yeah.
But nothing against AI art. I would love to watch a version of Star Wars where the message is, look at this shit.
Hey.
Look, a spaceship, pretty cool. Look how big the lightsaber we made is.